Here we've got the Titan TT1884COM cordless combi drill, probably one of the cheapest drills on the market. Let's see what it's like for doing bits and pieces around the house. Probably one of the most basic models you can buy, something that you might just want to pick up quickly because you don't have a drill or need a new one. Comes with 2 batteries, all of that for 60 quid, and says it does everything else you can imagine. So let's take a look and see what it's like unboxing it. So inside we've got your usual kind of carry case type situation. Most of the time I put these bad boys straight in the bin because they just get in the way. Right, inside, this is the first time I've even seen inside it myself. We've got a charger, pretty standard stuff. We've got battery, these are 2 amp hour batteries, so amp hour, you can see there, number 2, which means it's kind of the capacity of the battery. So 2 amp hour battery will last you a good amount of time. Normally you'll see some of the bigger brands making these up in 5 amp hour or even 6 or 9, and they'll last for absolutely ages, but you probably want to put those on things like lawnmowers and strimmers, stuff that take a lot more power. 2 amp hour is absolutely fine for something like a drill. In theory, if it's a decent quality battery, it should last you a decent amount of time. Out of the box, we've got multicolored charge indicator. Obviously showing you there the charge level. So it comes out of the box semi-charged. This is the extra battery and the drill itself. In the hand, feels not bad straight away. And then the other one that's already plugged in, same amount of charge. So this is the drill. So you can see here literally what you get in the box. It's got a belt clip, which is actually strangely quite handy if you're doing stuff on a ladder or just want to get out your hands for a second. You can chuck that on a pocket or on a belt. The drill itself feels like a good sort of weight, feels pretty sturdy. They've got a kind of over molded grip on here, which means that the plastic, the rubbery bit of plastic has been molded on top of the harder, less soft plastic. We've got 2 speeds, 1, 2. Mechanism feels okay. We've got screw, drill, and hammer. We actually, okay, so you turn the first one to get the different modes, and then on top of that we've got the different torque settings, which go up to just over 15 or 16 there. And then you can see the chuck, which is fully open when you get it. Seems all right. So this silver bit here, I think is plastic, just colored to look like metal. And probably they've done that because a lot of the more expensive drills, this component here is usually metal, which sort of indicates that it's a higher quality piece of kit. So they've tried to go for that look, although that's definitely still plastic. Okay, let's see what this thing weighs. So with the battery on and the belt clip, pop them on here, we are at just under 1.5 kilos. In comparison, we've got an Airbauer similar standard of drill. Just out of interest, that is the EDD18, and that also has a 2 amp lithium battery on it. Almost identical weight, just under the 1.5 kilos, and a slightly more premium drill. Certainly not the high end DeWalt, but a middleweight DeWalt drill. Again with the 2 amp, what we got there, just over. So the DeWalt is a little bit heavier, but that might be due to some of the components inside being a bit harder wearing and a bit longer lasting. So before we get going with turning it on, a little bit about this. Inside the drill itself, there's a gearbox. That's what helps it cycle through the different torque settings. Now it says on the specification that it has nylon gears. Basically, nylon is a plastic, and it means it has a plastic gearbox inside. You'd kind of expect to find that for this price point of drill, probably going to be slightly longer lasting, but if you're firing holes in plasterboard and putting the odd screw into something, you're going to be fine. Whereas you'll probably find on something like the DeWalt drill, it's going to have metal gears inside and be a little bit harder wearing. They usually make up those gears from sort of powdered metal that's then set and baked, so they are super hard wearing. In here, though, nylon is a super hard wearing plastic, so it's going to be perfectly decent, but might just reduce the lifespan. But if you're not like using this as a tradie on a work site or something, which you wouldn't be expected to be with this type of drill, it should be perfectly fine for home applications. So it has got a nice little light there, which might seem silly, but I've found that does actually help if you're in a dark corner putting screws into something. It's got your lockout on the trigger, which is always good if you've got kids running around and your toddler starts running around with a drill. Isn't always the best. You can keep that locked. So overall sound is kind of sounds a little bit sloppy. Seems okay. So you push to the other side, click that through. Just clicking that one way and then the other. Seems alright. That's second speed, which is the slowest. Into first gear. Seems alright. Into screwing mode. Cool. Yeah, sounds pretty good. Nice weight in the hand. Feels pretty good. Very comparable to something like the DeWalt that I just showed you a moment ago. Feels like a good bit of kit for the price it's at, and especially with 2 batteries. Seems pretty good. But let's put it to the actual test and see how it screws, if you know what I mean. So if we want to put a drill bit in, I've just got this little drill bit extender. Doesn't come with it, doesn't come with anything like that, so you will have to pick up a set of drill bits if you don't have any. Fire that open, drop them in. If you're used to this type of thing, it'll be very familiar. If not, you just screw it shut and give it a little tighten. Cool. So I've got a 5mm screw here, 5mm wide by 50mm long, kind of standard sort of thing you'd expect to find. Maybe if you're putting some heavy duty flat packs together or you want to build something for the first time. Now this is a combi drill, it's not an impact driver, so I'm not expecting this to fly into the wood. But let's see how it gets on anyway. No pre-drill. So just not very much pressure, not putting much force down onto the drill bit. Oh, help if I held that still. Nice. That's pretty good. And then removing it again, in reverse this time. Takes it out no problem. So yeah, seems pretty good going for that. It put the screw in no bother, took it out really easily. That sort of thing will drain the battery pretty quickly, but yeah, pretty impressed with that. So next I want to swap out our screw bit for a drill bit. Again, this is just a little drill bit holder, but it's got a countersink on it. So let's see how this does this time. So again, this is just a piece of 6x2 pine, nothing too crazy, not any sort of fancy hardwood. Swap it to drill mode this time, keep it in first gear, and away we go. Yeah, no bad at all. Fired into it, no problem. Something like plasterboard is going to be even easier for this to get through. So moral of the story is, if you are putting screws in walls, you're screwing into studs to hang something on the wall, if you're putting holes in plasterboard, this thing is nearly more than enough. For the price it's at, with a couple of batteries, even if you're doing something, a longer job, building something out of very light sort of pine or spruce timber, yeah, this thing is going to be a good partner for you to put things together and put some simple holes and stuff. Would I use it absolutely every single day building a house? Absolutely not. But for around the house, absolutely perfect. So I hope that was helpful. I would recommend as a buy. But there are other things out there. The Airbuyer range isn't far off the same price point and is probably a little bit better thought of than the Titan range at somewhere like Screwfix or B&Q here in the UK. And then, of course, if you feel a bit more committed and want to pay a little bit more, you can always upgrade to one of the more well-known brands. But for around the house, for the odd bit of DIY, yeah, I would have this. Thanks very much for watching, and please subscribe.